Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus AEW Dark from July 28th, 2020. 12 fucking matches. They're trying to kill me. I was under the impression that a bunch of these matches were going to be quote-unquote competitive, but they were not, with the exception of perhaps the main event. And your main event is SCU, Kazarian and Daniels against Santana and Ortiz against Private Party with what turned out to be Big Money Matt, which was definitely good for a big laugh on my end. I'm going to go with my 3-point rating system for teaching purposes and to help shape my conversation about each match. Let's just jump into it. What do you say? So Cutler and Avalon, who are now known as the Initiative, yay, geeky Dungeons and Dragons crap, I love it, with Leva Bates against FTR. The Bucks watching from the side, which I thought looked really great. I thought it was interesting that they put Cutler and Avalon in the first match. I think this is a good move because in the story that they're telling about Cutler and Avalon looking for their first win, that has been put on the back burner. They're certainly not going to get it against FTR, and we have a much bigger match for the main, and so let's put them in the first match because it is a foregone conclusion match, but nonetheless, this match started off hot in the sense that they pulled off all three. FTR was obviously put over, and they were made to look incredibly strong. But those things were handled effectively. So when Avalon and Cutler got offense on FTR, and they didn't get as much offense on FTR as they've gotten on other teams, nonetheless, it looked very effective. And because FTR was just rolling over them, when they were able to string stuff together, it looked very crisp and very good. They did not have a Leva interfering spot, which I thought was a good move to not have that. But nonetheless, that match hit all 3 points. FTR picks up the win with a spike piledriver, and we're moving on. Second match, Pineapple Pete against Michael Nakazawa against Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, who have been teaming up rather successfully a bunch of times. This match, though, a couple of people actually texted me last night, what the hell, like, when's your AEW Dark report coming out, which is much appreciated. Just know I'm not going to get them out until the next day. Are you fucking kidding me? Unless I'm getting paid to do this, or I have a much bigger subscriber base or something that would justify me knocking it out right away. You're better off getting it the next day anyway, because I have time to stew and marinate. They wanted me specifically to look and comment on the job that Should D, aka Pineapple Pete, did. Well, I gotta tell you, this one, were Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela put over with a pinfall? Yes. Was Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela really put over as a team? No. I think like Sonny Kiss was. Now maybe Sonny Kiss was hurt and they were covering it, so Sonny Kiss just came in and hit that crazy top rope, like front split leg drop thing. But for the most part, this was the Joey Janela show, and he did a lot of goofball stuff. And maybe they wanted to spare Sonny Kiss from having to do the goofball stuff with Nakazawa. But I don't think a lot was accomplished in this tag match. Yes, Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela got the win. But the second point, were they put over in the sense that we really got a sense of their gimmicks? And no, we really didn't. And were Pineapple Pete, Michael Nakazawa put over? In the sense that, yes, we put over that they're goofy. I mean, things like Pineapple Pete tagging the wrong person and stuff like that, but they're not a threat in any way, shape, or form. So I would say this match hit 1 out of the 3 things you needed to hit. Just being honest. I just thought it was one of these matches that it really came across as a pointless sideshow. In a match where in a card where you've got 12 matches going on, you really can't afford for a match to feel like a waste of time, and that's what this felt like. And we had a commercial for the AEW figures, the first of 4. Yikes, man. They're really pushing the fact that Monday at Walmart, AEW figures. Number 3, Abaddon, whose gimmick I adore, against Skylar, who I'm coming around on quite a bit. Good worker, for sure. Did they hit all three things? Yes. However, I would say Abaddon has been exposed a little bit. A lot of the offense did not look crisp, and it's hard to imagine how Abaddon, who has such a strong, powerful gimmick, how it's going to be incorporated into a competitive match, because we just got a glimpse of a competitive match here and Abaddon looked exposed. Abaddon's just going to have to lay fucking in, and the offense is just going to have to be slowed down and done perfectly. So yes, all 3 points were hit, though I would say the second point about Abaddon being made to look good in addition to just being put over. And I would rethink the Widow's Peak finisher. There's something about it that's really clunky, and she's really short, so it just doesn't look good. I would stick with something original that's very visceral. Match number 4, Dark Order, the main tag team, who are getting a tag team title shot on Dynamite tonight, of Evil Uno and Stu Grayson against Will Hobbs and Sean Dean. This is the best that Sean Dean has looked, and Will Hobbs individually. Now, Sean Dean, I would say, took our enhancement talent performance of the week in a 12-match card. That's saying something. He really did a stellar job here, just taking all of the stuff from Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. And Sean Dean's work with them alone earned them the second check mark, where he really made Evil Uno and Stu Grayson look phenomenal. And obviously they put them over, so they hit check 1 and check 2. Check 3, like I said, it's the best that they've looked individually. So there's that. But Will Hobbs, I don't know, man. There's just so many times where things look a little clunky and a little weird. Though Stu Grayson muscling him up on his shoulders was I was duly impressed. But yeah, they hit all 3 check marks. I thought Sean Dean looked really, really phenomenal. And he's using that over the top rope dive thing to great effect in the course of matches. But at the same time, they made them look incredibly imposing for their tag team title match tonight. So high marks on that match all around. Speaking of high marks, we had match number 5, Corey Hollis against Scorpio Sky, which I personally was looking forward to the most. And Corey Hollis did his job for sure. Scorpio Sky was made to look good because Scorpio Sky, as I've said in the past, if he has a weakness, it's that he's so worried about hitting check number 3 of making the other guy look good that he sometimes forgets that he's the one who's supposed to be being made into the star throughout the course of the match. But Corey Hollis made sure he looked great. All 3 check marks were hit pretty much effortlessly in this one. Corey Hollis is a consummate pro. They even replayed his cool little flip kick where he hops up on the second rope, back flips, twists to the side, and then hits a kick. It looked really smooth, and I remember thinking like, oh, it's too bad they're not going to replay that because it looks really great. And they replayed it. Good for Corey Hollis. And Corey Hollis did the best job of making that TKO of Scorpio Skies look incredibly effective. I still don't think it's a great finisher for Scorpio Sky. I'll say that again. But Corey Hollis made it look great. So all 3 check marks hit there. Number 6, Kenzie Page, who I'll be honest, I have not been a fan of. I don't think she's looked very effective against Penelope Ford. She probably looked more effective than she has in the past. They got that 3rd check mark because she does throw hellified great forearms and strikes, and Penelope Ford was really great at selling them. So Penelope Ford made sure she got over there. And Penelope Ford picked up the win, no doubt. But 2 things I really wanted to comment about this match, but I'll save the thing about the commentators and what it shows about AEW. By the way, it's hosted by Taz and Excalibur, who I think do a really fantastic job in general. But they did not hit the 2nd check mark. What's the 2nd check mark? That's where, okay, it's one thing to put Penelope Ford over, as in Penelope Ford gets the win, but did she look good doing it? No. And most of that was on Kenzie Page. She was not there for moves. That handspring cutter thing that Penelope Ford does, I think she needs to take it out of her arsenal. It's always looked a little bit wonky. Here it completely missed. And then there was another spot where Kenzie Page was supposed to kind of come barreling in, and they had to cut to a different camera angle because she missed hitting the turnbuckle, and it was awful. So I would say Penelope Ford did not look good in victory, so they missed that second check mark. Now let me talk about the commentary that's happening. At one point they broke into singing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme, and it was kind of flowed from a thing about Philadelphia and all that stuff. And it made me realize that AEW, there's a freedom there that you don't have in the WWE. Yet often they seem more logical and a tighter product, even though they're kind of given freedom to roam. Now it doesn't always work out well. It doesn't always work out well, but it does more often than not, and it just makes for a more spontaneous feel. It makes for, I mean, there's times where it doesn't work. Like sometimes Jim Ross will say something and I go like, what the heck? That just downplays the product for no good reason. It's terrible. But overall, their commentary, it never gets into the realm of annoying, and it's always in the realm of putting the product over. Yet the guys are free to have a little bit of fun. This was almost a 2-hour show. And you gotta let Taz and Excalibur do their thing, and they do. And I appreciate it, and I think it's another reason that it feels like they're getting stronger as the WWE gets weaker. Another commercial for the figures. Number 2 of 4, I believe. Number 7 match, Aaron Solo, who in the past I've thought has done kind of a sloppy job of making his opponent look good. He always puts them over, and he always makes sure he gets his shit in, but often the second check mark is missed. But against Wardlow, let me tell you, Aaron Solo did look good. Those kicks, those series of kicks looked amazing. But Wardlow, this is, in a weird way, the best he's looked. Now, he looked really great against Cody Rhodes, but you can chalk that up to Cody Rhodes. But he definitely fulfilled his end of his very first real match in AEW, and it was great. Here, he's definitely putting over. That thing where the guy just like free falls face first, and then he knees him on the face on the way down, and they just registered a knockout. I think it's unique. I think it's different. I don't know if I love it. It doesn't matter. They're sticking to it. And Aaron Solo, with those series of kick strikes, Wardlow made him look good without taking away from himself. In fact, I will say this, because we also have Lance Archer on this card, and we've got Brian Cage. Wardlow is separating himself as the most brutal out of their brutal big guys. He really is. The intensity at which he was throwing Aaron around after the match, and just his overall demeanor during the match, and he gives a little without giving too much, which I think Lance Archer definitely generally gives too much. And Brian Cage as well at times. But Wardlow, I would say, is the most brutal right now out of the 3 brutal guys. So there's that. Match number 8. Woo, see what I'm saying? Dark Order, number 3 and 4. It's Alex Reynolds and John Silver against Best Friends. They promote a lot of stuff during this match. The fact that they're going to have a lot of tag stuff going on. Chuck Taylor did very little compared to Trent Beretta, who, again, every time I see this guy, I'm just a bigger and a bigger and a bigger fan. He did all 3 by himself, basically. He made sure the Best Friends looked good. He made sure the Dark Order looked good in defeat. And he really took the heat, and he really just made everything look good. I'm just a big fan of Trent Beretta. Chuck Taylor, not so much. Again, there's nothing that looks special about him, and I don't know what the answer is, but I would just like to see it where it just doesn't look like guys are having to just pretend that he's effective. I don't know what to say. I know that sounds brutal. I'm just saying what I think. And yeah, Chuck Taylor's finisher looks great. That awful waffle is brutal as hell. But yeah, it definitely felt like the case where Trent was carrying this thing throughout. Almost to the point where I wrote down in my notes, like, is Chuck Taylor hurt or not feeling up to this? Because he was really not a part of this match at all till he came in at the end. Interesting. Match number 9. Frankie Thomas, first time AEW Darker, against Lance Archer. And boy, did this not work. They gave Lance Archer pyro. He brings a guy to the ring who he beat up in that vignette. So I guess that's taking the place of beating up a crew member, which is fine, but it really didn't serve to have that guy out there. I did like the moment where Lance Archer looked over at Lee Johnson, and they made a big deal about that. Lee Johnson, one of the first guys who wrestled Lance Archer, and he looked scared. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means a thing where Lee Johnson is going to stand up to Lance Archer or not. But I thought it was interesting. Lance Archer did a ton of stuff, which honestly made him look less and less effective. I know this sounds very Cornette-esque, but it's absolutely true in this case. The more Lance Archer did to Frankie Thomas, the more I went, God, Wardlow dispatched his guy. And you're sitting here doing move after move after move. And then Frankie Thomas is countering the big stuff at the end before he gets caught in that claw. So, was Lance Archer put over with a victory? Yes. Did Lance Archer look good in his victory? No. And did Frankie Thomas look good? No, not especially. So 1 out of 3. They got to fix that problem because Wardlow's got it figured out. And I have no doubt Brian Cage is going to have it figured out just because of the position he's put in. But Lance Archer, it's like, what do we have him for? He loses one match and now it's Jobberville? That's it? That's all he's got to offer us? Number 10, Orange Cassidy against Serpentico. They make a lot about Sammy Guevara coming back in the guise of Serpentico, of course, but I'm glad they got through that relatively quickly so we could talk about the match and Orange Cassidy. All 3 check marks are hit here. Orange Cassidy wins with his cool little roll-up, his cool little pinning combo. He's made to look good. He basically hits all his greatest hits, and that was good. It's nice to see, so we can remind new fans, and there are new fans watching this thing all the time, what Orange Cassidy does and why he does it. And then he even gets in the Superman punch afterwards as Serpentico tries to attack him afterwards. And Serpentico looked good in the course of this match. You're going to get your stuff in against Orange Cassidy, and he's going to sell it well. So all 3 check marks hit. Really good stuff. When people say like, oh, you know, Steve, you say new people are watching, but are they watching Dark? Isn't that just the hardcores? Yes. Because I keep track of these kind of things. Normally, AEW Dark hits about 200,000 views after a while, but now they're getting those 200,000 plus views almost immediately, which means you've got a lot of new people watching, and then it goes in higher and higher as the weeks go on. So yes, you want to introduce Orange Cassidy, especially on AEW Dark, again and again and again. We get another toy commercial. What I tell you? And we got Fuego de Sol against Sammy Guevara. The catching Fuego de Sol's foot and back flipping him out of the ring was the most reckless yet safe move done. And they replayed it because it was pretty awesome. Sammy Guevara, there's just nothing you can say bad about his performance in the ring. He definitely was put over. He definitely got that finisher over as he got to apply it to Fuego de Sol's tag team partner as well after the match. He looked fantastic in the match, hitting all his greatest spots, which is a lot of braggadocious stuff. He really got all that stuff in to reintroduce us to him as he's back. Was Fuego de Sol put over? Not so much, but they definitely accomplished what they needed to in this match, was to let us know Sammy's back and Sammy's great. And then Fuego de Sol, I don't know, like he's so fucking skinny that it's really hard for his stuff to look credible. Sammy's as good as anybody at making somebody look credible who's smaller. But Fuego de Sol, I don't know, man, he just didn't have the stuff. But there it is. And then we go into a promo with Private Party with Big Money Matt. And again, I'll give this to Private Party. I'm not the biggest fan, and sometimes I think their stuff looks really clunky. I will say this, in both of the Dark Order tag matches, the Dark Order did like series of move stuff that always came across flawlessly. So kudos to those guys. I wanted to point that out earlier, and I did not do it, so I have to say it now. Because sometimes Private Party does these like string of moves one after another, and it's like a domino. One gets knocked out and doesn't go right, and then the rest of the thing falls apart. But both of the Dark Order teams really strung moves together incredibly effectively, which is a testament to them and the people that they wrestled. Big Money Matt does his promo, and Private Party, I'll give it to him. They hit the line of the night when one of them just goes like, man, Big Money Matt's kind of a dick. I fucking laughed because, again, it's the Mercutio factor of pointing out the obvious so that way the audience doesn't turn on the thing. Really great. SCU against Santana and Ortiz and Private Party. Big fan of SCU's work. Big fan of Santana and Ortiz. In fact, I would say Santana and Ortiz are the most effective tag team. And that includes FTR, that includes the Bucks, that includes guys like the Lucha Brothers. I think Santana and Ortiz very quietly do the best job in tag teams in AEW. In a very crowded and talented tag team field, I think Santana and Ortiz do the best job right now, including Butcher and Blade, who do a great job as well. In fact, they may be the best tag team in wrestling. I said it, you heard it here, Santana and Ortiz. The match happens. It's good. It's effective. I'm not going to judge it on the 3-point scale since this is a competitive match, though it is a bit of a foregone conclusion. It's clear that I think out of all these teams, Santana and Ortiz need this win the most, so they get it, which is great. And they get it in great fashion. I love the finish, though they did do something that hadn't happened in any of the other matches to a large degree, which is they made that ref look really, really dumb. Though not because of the finish of handing throwing something at the guy from Private Party so he caught it. So the referee, while he was getting rid of that thing in the guy's hands out of the ring, he just low kicked him and rolled him up, which I thought was a fantastic finish and very Santana and Ortiz, and I expect that we'll see it tonight in the 5-on-5. Then we promote tonight's Dynamite. They have already laid out all 5 major matches. What can you say? Shida against Diamante. Shida, who has been improving as of late, and Diamante, who I have not been impressed by the work at all. I expect Shida to carry this match through. I hope they don't lose their mind and give it to Diamante as some kind of shock. Please don't do that. But hopefully Shida can carry that match through. That's the match that I think will probably be the not good one. But we'll see if they can prove me wrong. Cody against Warhorse. Warhorse, I'm such a fan of the vignettes and the different comedy things that he's done online during the whole quarantine thing. So, and I've seen his work. I went back and looked at a bunch of matches that he's done. He's really good. The 5-on-5, which I assume will be our main event, between Inner Circle against Best Friends with Orange Cassidy and the 2 members of Jurassic Express that are actually a threat, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. We're going to have a tag title match between the Dark Order, who are technically undefeated, let me make sure I get their names right, Evil Uno, and it's on my other page, I apologize, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, sorry about that, Stu, against Omega and Page, and then Brian Cage and Ricky against Darby Allin and Moxley. All exciting, interesting matches. Anyway, this has been your incredibly long AEW Dark report. I'm Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling.